Well, hey folks, Ken here, and welcome to my new channel, What is Ken Up To? Now, I have another channel called Day Tripping with Ken. That's, as the name implies, going to different places, quite often the Disney parks and things like that. But this one is going to focus more about, well, things at home that I might be doing, some hobbies and crafts and gardening and all that kind of stuff. So this is starting my series called my Lathe Journey. So a while back, about a year ago or so, my wife gave me a present, a gift for my birthday to take a wood lathe class. It was at I think it was called Wood Crafters up in here in Orange County. That has since closed, but you know, I took that class and then I took another one, and I really kind of got hooked on using a lathe. I had never used one before. I've done other woodworking and things like that, nothing elaborate, but this was something that I really wanted to learn about. Started watching a couple channels. One of them is Richard Finley, and he's a gentleman out of the UK. And he has an Instagram channel. You can just look him up, Richard Finley. And I started watching him because I follow Tom Silva has a channel, you know, Tom Silva of This Old House. And a few years back, he started lathe turning. And I don't know if he had ever done that before. Knowing Tom, he probably did. But he said it was something that he was getting into and was relatively new to him. And he said one of the people that he followed was Richard Finley. So I started looking that on Instagram. That was actually probably, I'd say 2 years ago, I started watching that. And then I took the lathe class. And I also started following on YouTube how to turn a wood bowl with a gentleman named Kent, who, as the name implies, that focuses mainly on turning bowls. And between those two channels, I've picked up a lot of different knowledge, you know, a lot of different ways of doing things. And so I, you know, wanted to kind of start my own lathe journey. I'd been looking around for a lathe to buy, you know, nothing really expensive, just something to start out with. And well, my birthday came around last week, and my wife surprised me with a brand new lathe. So how about that? Now this is one that's put out by Harbor Freight, Central Machinery. This is one of them. I think they have a couple different ones out there. And what I'm going to do here is I just you know, set up the lathe here. It's on my workbench. It's not going to stay here for a variety of reasons. One, I need obviously a little bit more room than I have here. And also the lathe is too high, and I'll get into that in just a minute or in another video, what I mean by that. But what I wanted to do is to kind of show you folks, I just took this out of the box. I'll insert a couple photos here. You can see how it was packed. My wife did get this at the Harbor Freight store. It's not like she ordered it and was delivered. So it came very well packed, by the way. And, you know, the pictures I put in here, I'll show you that I just took a couple pictures. Took it out of the box, set it up here, still have the plastic wrap on it. And although the lathe is not going to stay on the workbench here, I thought it would be a really good idea to at least unpack it and plug it in, make sure it's operating okay, make sure everything that's supposed to come with it is here. And, you know, then from there, I'm going to be getting, actually did get a table, an adjustable workbench table. And I'm going to find a place to put that here in our garage, which is kind of tight, like, you know, for a lot of people. Your garage is more of a storage area. And then once I move it to there and get it adjusted, then we'll move on and, you know, go from there. And I'll kind of show you my lathe journey. I am not an expert. I am a 100% novice. So you're going to be watching me, who's only taken a couple classes, who did like a little spindle turning here, you know, a couple little practice things like this. And then I have it inside a little bowl that I did for those two classes that I took, you know, over a year ago. So let me take the plastic off this. Actually, this is the first time I've taken the plastic off. So you're going to see this with me here. And, you know, I'll move the camera around so you can kind of see this. But this is the central machinery lathe. This is what's called a 1018. And by the way, what that means, if you're new to lathes as I was, you know, when I first heard that nomenclature, what do those numbers mean a while back? I had no idea what that meant. But of course, what it means is if it's 10 inches, that means you could put stock on here. You could turn a bowl about 10 inches, not really, more like about 9 inches. You always want to take about an inch off. So as far as as far as the amount of width you have in here, that's 10 inches. And then when the tailstock is moved all the way back, the amount of room maximum you're going to have to turn something in between would be 18 inches. So that's the one. These are called, usually they're called midi lathes. Mini lathes are a little bit smaller. They're mainly for pen turning. So that's what this is. And what's kind of nice about the central machinery one is that if you went to rockler.com, if you went to one of the Rockler woodworking stores, their 1018 lathe is exactly the same. It's made by the same manufacturer, just sold under the Rockler name and, you know, a different color. But the advantage to that is you could go buy accessories at that store that fits their lathe, and it's going to fit this lathe as well. So that's really nice. I mean, it's a good way to start out, a good way to go, because it'll give you sort of that flexibility. You can order stuff on Harbor Freight. You can go order stuff from rockler.com. And I even think there's another company that makes a lathe under their name, you know, which is exactly the same as this one. So, you know, we're gonna get this series going here. And as I said, this is not gonna stay here. It's gonna move to once I get my table set up. And, you know, I'll show you what this comes with really quick. I'll move the phone a little bit so I can kind of pan over here and you can see all that. But yeah, and so give me a minute. I'm going to plug it in, and that's going to be the first thing. We'll see how it runs. All right, so we're going to turn this on for the first time and see how well it works. I did move a couple things around to make things less distracting. Again, this is my my real workbench here. This is what it looks like, you know, typical track home. Not a lot of room in the garage, but you know, this is real life here. So let's turn this on. I did plug it in, and hopefully it goes well. And it does. So you can hear that running. It's very, very, very quiet, very smooth, and man, I really like that. I mean, it's just humming around really nice. So really looking forward to, you know, getting this all set up and using it. Let me turn it off here. I'm going to show you a couple things on this, what this comes with. And obviously it comes with what's called the banjo here, and that can be loosened and moved back and forth. That's what this mechanism is called. That holds the tool rest and, you know, the headstock and the tailstock, of course. And then the accessories that it comes with besides the manual. I want to say, by the way, I kind of perused the manual a little bit. It is really laid out nicely, you know, easy to follow, large photos, and really well done. So that's going to be nice to have. So tell you what it comes with. I mean, first of all, it comes out with a knockout tool, and that, of course, knocks out the live center and the spur. Comes with, of course, the spur, which is going to fit right here. You probably see here, let me move this out of the way. It does come with a face plate that you can see here. And, you know, once I get this fully set up, then I'll show you how to take all this stuff off and change things out. The live center, of course, what goes into the tailstock. And it comes with, you know, appropriate Allen wrenches. It comes with 3 of those. And it also comes with a little accessory holder here. Now this would attach right here. It's got some screws right there you can put that onto. It also came with this. I didn't know what this was at first, but you know, then I figured it out. It's to put on the end of the tailstock here, the wheel. It screws on right there, if you can see that, and therefore if you want to use that to turn the wheel. Now interestingly, It does not come with a wrench to take the faceplate off. And I say that because it says it in the manual that it comes with a wrench. And I saw online that other people said the same thing, that, you know, it says there's a wrench, but it doesn't come with one. Maybe it's hidden somewhere. I just haven't found it. Not a big deal. I mean, I've got plenty of wrenches to take this off with. A couple things they changed on this. When I've seen a couple videos on this lathe online, two things that they changed that I noticed right away. It used to be green. In fact, all the videos that I've seen on this, they were like this green color, almost like a John Deere green color. And so they changed that, you know, big deal. Yeah, I actually kind of like the way it looks now. Also, a couple other things is that you can really tell, and from what other people, the videos I saw that were maybe 2 or 3 years old, they were talking about how rough the cast iron surfaces were, and I don't find that at all. I mean, for a lathe, I've worked on a jet lathe when I was taking my class. This is comparable. I mean, this is really well made, well machined. You know, we'll see how it does as we go through the months of using it, but I think it's really well done. And the other thing that they changed that I think is really good, this is a variable speed lathe, meaning you vary with the belts that are in here. Some lathes, upper end lathes, you know, they have a little dial that you can change, or a digital readout or something like that. What they changed on this, though, is this door used to open from the back. So you had to kind of get back there and, you know, change the speed with the belt and the wheels on here, which again, that's something I'll show you in the future. And I really like the fact they put this in the front here, because you can now, you know, if I wanted to leave this on this workbench, I wouldn't have to worry about trying to maneuver back or moving the lathe to check that all out and to, you know, adjust the wheels and the belt on that. You know, I would have clearance to do that even on this tight workbench space. So that's really cool that they change this. Everything in here is metal. Of course, the belts are not. The only thing that I have seen so far that is plastic is this little cover here, this door on here. The door on the back here is also plastic. I'll show you that later on, that you would remove that door so you can adjust the belts on the bottom, and you loosen the motor and all that. So those are the only two things that are plastic on here. You know, the knobs, things like that, which is fine. But overall, I think it's really well made. I am very much looking forward to using this. And as I said, I bought an adjustable table to get it the right height for me. I'm not that tall. I'm 5'6". And you really want the center line of the lathe to be about where your elbows are. You know, something that's comfortable, give or take a couple inches. My elbow height is about 41 inches. So I need to get this lowered, you know, as you can see, by quite a bit. I think it's I need to get it lowered by about 8-9 inches or so. So I got that adjustable table that I'll set up and get that at the right height. That's important. I also, of course, have to get the other things that you need with a lathe. Obviously, the tools. I did order one from the gentleman, Richard Finley, out of the UK. He has his signatures. It's a parting tool and a spindle tool as well. I've watched him use this, and it's sort of a hybrid tool. I guess they're more common in the UK. So I ordered one of those, and probably have that here in, I would say, a couple weeks. And then, of course, what I have to get is the sharpener, the sharpening wheel. And, of course, the little jig that holds the tools at the proper angle. And I think a lot of people, sometimes they buy a lathe, and something I learned when I took the classes, you know, and we had to sharpen the tools. I didn't think about that. You know, obviously, you know, I do a lot of cooking. I got to sharpen my knives, and you need something to sharpen your knives. That's not something I even thought about, but you have to get that as well. And you got to get a slow speed grinder, and those can range from, you know, $80 on up. And then there are different types of jigs to hold your tools in the right position. But the other thing you have to get, and again, something that I learned, you have to get don't use the standard oxide grinding wheels, the wheels that come with those, with the grinder. You want to get what's called a CBN wheel. I'm sorry, I forget what that stands for. But I have been, online. I asked the couple of people, the guys that I watch, I follow on YouTube and Instagram, what's the suggested grit? If you're only going to get one of those, it's 180 grit they suggested. But you have to get one of those too. That can run $100 and up. It just depends. And also another little tip, everything that I've read and seen from the YouTube videos, the Instagram videos, you want an 8-inch wheel minimum, 8 to 10 inches. Said 8 inches is fine. So if you go out and buy a grinder, you have to make sure that it's an 8-inch or 10-inch model. 8 inches, the one that they suggest, really across the board. You don't need to spend the extra money for a 10-inch. So I got to get all that. I'm still going to figure out what grinder and I'm going to get, and I've got to order the jig that I want, the type that I'm probably going to use, and then I'll be on my way, and we'll see, and we'll start out slow. I'll probably just, as I did when I took my class, this was just cheap pine, right? Great way to start though, and it really is. You don't want to spend a lot of money, so we'll get into that. And also, if you can turn pine fairly smoothly, the better woods are going to be even easier to get a nice smooth surface on. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll move on eventually. Maybe doing some small bowls. I'll use probably the faceplate for that, and we'll go from there. So I really appreciate you watching. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. Again, I am a novice. I am not an expert. I am learning, as many of you probably are. There's going to be a lot of mistakes made, but it's going to be fun, and I'm looking forward to it. So thank you again. We'll see you next time.